Demolition Company Gold Edition is a new version of the Demolition Company simulator that was first released in 2010. It includes additional vehicles and missions. It comes in a typical PC games box and includes a product catalogue and a handy instruction manual that's got a number of pages and that details the various controls, some information about the game and the various machines that can be used. Installation of the software was straightforward on the Vista machine used for the review, and the screenshots were produced by filming the screen, so the graphics on a real computer would be better than in this video review. When the game starts up, you get presented with the menu screen, and there's a variety of modes including career and missions, but we'll start by having a look at the options, and there are a few settings for adjusting the screen layout and detail and volume and that kind of thing, and you can use the game with controllers if you like, and all the keys are customizable if you want to set different keys on the keyboard. Let's start by having a look at the career mode, and several people can have their own careers on this game. And the first thing to do is to go to the practice area where you can learn how to drive some of the machines and operate some of the equipment. You're presented with a number of screens and you can choose which piece of equipment you can operate, assuming you've got enough money to actually own the equipment. And for this exercise we'll have a go at the skid steer loader, which is waiting for us. A nice touch in the simulation is that a tower cranes gently turn in the distance, although they never seem to lift anything. You enter the machine and start it up, and it's a simple matter to drive it forwards and backwards. There are a variety of camera angles that you can choose, and here we're looking from obviously outside the machine. But you can view all the machines from inside the cab, and that's pretty good to get a more realistic view. And there's a nice touch on the skid steer loader, as on the other machines, is that when you stop and start it kind of bounces a little bit on the suspension, which is quite nice. So you can raise or lower the jackhammer that's fitted to the front of the skid steer loader, and there's our wall to practice on, so we can drive up to it and set it drilling, and then it's a simple matter just to knock the wall down, and there's a view from outside of the progress we've made on our wall. So it's all easy enough and quite satisfying in a way to wreak a bit of havoc on a carefully built wall. In career mode, when you complete a mission or a task, you get experience points, and you can also earn money too, and with that you can go into the map where there are various areas of the city, and if you visit the various areas there are a number of missions you can undertake, but they have to be unlocked sequentially depending on your progress and whether you've earned enough money and have enough experience to take on the more complicated exercises. We'll try out some of the machines. Each of the missions has a screen telling you what to do, and there's some amusing spelling errors in some of those screens which are worth looking out for. And here's an excavator, not the biggest in the fleet, but big enough. And we can start the engine up and move it towards the staircase, which is the task in this mission, to demolish that staircase. We can move forward, and just when we're ready we can lower the hammer and start it up and start demolishing the staircase. And the flashing red indicates bits of the structure that on this mission you're not supposed to damage. And if you do damage it, you lose points, and you can in fact fail the mission if you damage too much of the structure that you're not supposed to damage. Let's try another mission with some different equipment, and this one involves demolishing part of an old building. And there's 3 bits of equipment in this task. So if we have a quick look at those, you've got a small excavator which you can start up and drive with a hammer on. There's a nice chunky wheeled loader, and that steers well and can be driven too. We'll see a little bit more of that later. And there's a good old-fashioned wrecking ball, and this is a good piece of equipment. In fact, there's a bigger one in the fleet as well. And you can see as the crane moves along, the ball kind of swings about. So the physics of representing the ball are quite reasonable, and you can swing the ball about and hit the building, and then there's a little bit of skill involved now to see how you want to go about demolishing this structure. You can lower the jib of the crane, which is quite good, and you can also drag the ball in towards you with a tagline and let it go and swing it towards the wall that you're trying to demolish. And as you can see, it takes a few hits for the wall to start crumbling, but if you keep going at it, you can successfully start making a dent in the wall. And the physics of how the wall crumbles is pretty reasonable, really. It's a difficult thing to model in a simulation, but it's done pretty well in this game. You can raise and lower the ball as well, and even drop it if you want. Just drop it vertically. But if swinging is your thing, then you can do the old-fashioned swinging the ball, and that's just a matter of getting the crane in position, and then by gently swinging the crane left and then right, we can get the ball to swing and start impacting the wall that we want to demolish. And again, it takes a few goes to start making a dent in the wall. But if we keep going, you see that some of the dust is modelled. There's some areas here where the simulation would be improved with some more dust and things like that, but of course that means more computing power, and we need a better computer for that. Next up is a high reach machine, and this is quite a big one. It looks like a lead pair, although on the back the name is Rolo. As with the other machines, you can drive it along from inside the cab and manoeuvre it into position, and this time we're heading towards the building in the distance because we've got to knock the top floor off, and we can look up and see the boom, and when we're in position we can just raise up the boom like that, and then try and get a bit closer. It can be quite hard to see, and you can sympathise with the drivers of the real machine that it's must be difficult to see what you're doing at times, but we can change the camera angle and get a different view of things, which helps. And so when we've got the hammer in the right position, we can approach the building and set it going. There's another view, which is a kind of a view from the boom of the machine, and if we set the drill going, we can start hammering away and see what impact we can make on the building. And you can see you can just kind of smash it apart. It's not really the recommended way of driving the real machine, but hey ho. New in the gold edition of the game is the bucket with a big excavator. It's another Rolo, so we can get in and start that up, and this makes short work of small buildings, as you'd expect, and you can just crunch into them and smash them up. And again, it's all really quite satisfying to have a go at these buildings and see what damage you can do to them. One of the other machines in the fleet is a wheeled loader, and it's branded with the name Worker, although again it looks a bit like a Liebherr. The bucket has a full range of movement, so you can raise it up high and use it to tip, and you can use the machine to push things out of the way. You can see it rides well and actually bumps over curbs, so the simulation's got some accuracy to it, and you can use it to load the dump truck, which is also provided in the gold edition. And the dump truck you can drive along. The steering's represented reasonably well. It's not as detailed a truck as you find in some of the truck simulators, but it works well enough, and you can drive it about and use it to cart material, which some of the missions require, and even the tipping body works as well. Inside the cab, the graphics aren't great. but it's good enough for this kind of a simulation. But the game's not just about machines. You can even rely on a trusty old sledgehammer, or in this case a pickaxe. So we've got a bit of a clock tower here, and maybe if we just chip away at the bottom we can see what damage we can do. It looks like reinforced concrete, and if it is, we're doing really well with this pickaxe to get through it so quickly. But at least it means the game isn't boring, because after a few bits of chipping away we can just get rid of one of the corners of the clock tower, and if we run fast enough away you can see it gently fall down, which is quite pleasing. If you like to be a bit more destructive though, you can use explosives, and 3 types of explosives are provided in the game. So here's a concrete chimney, and we'll take one of the more powerful explosives and just put 1 charge on the bottom and retire to a safe distance, and then we'll see if we've put it in the right place to get the chimney. I was hoping it will fall towards us, so let's see what happens when we set it off. Seems okay. Oh, it's falling away. Oh no, it's not going on the other property, is it? Oh dear, it is. Well, that's one of the bits of skill in the game, to try to get chimneys and things to fall in the right direction. One of the fun aspects of the game is that you don't have to be limited by common sense. If you want, you can just stick loads and loads of explosive charges on your chimney and just experiment a bit and see what happens. Up, drop one. Yep, put that back on, and when we've got enough explosives on, well, I think it should be just about enough now, we can retire to a safe distance. Better run, because I don't really want anyone to see what we're doing here, and when we're far enough away, give it a real blast. And again, it's all very satisfying and a bit of fun. In summary, this is a pretty good simulator, and it's certainly a lot more fun than some of the other simulators on the market. So if you like the idea of knocking things down or blowing them up, it's highly recommended.